So, a very, very short teaser for Oppenheimer has been released in conjunction with Nope, both of which are in IMAX. Now, I did not see the preview. I want to be very clear on that. So, this is me just based on secondhand testimony of the essential contents of the teaser. As a teaser, it's not much, but it should give you a preview of the depth and scope of what Nolan is going to be up to in Oppenheim proper. So I will try to be as accurate with what occurred in the teaser and then give a commentary on it. So we begin with Emily Blunt, who essentially plays Oppenheimer's wife, and she talks about how the world is reforming, the world is changing, and then we get a kind of glimpse of Oppenheimer in his hat, and we have this kind of countdown on screen because coincidentally, the actual testing of the nuclear weapon occurred in July as well. So presumably, we're counting down to the actual testing of the nuclear bomb, and we have images of smoke and fire, very intense images of smoke and fire, and Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer sort of intercut with these images, but he seems much more relaxed putting on his hat. And presumably that's an allusion to the actual nuclear test. We hear other voices as well. Gary Oldman will be playing Harry S. Truman, and we hear Truman's voice how the power of the sun is being harnessed for this weapon. And then we get some cutting of black and white and Oppenheimer and other random voices talking about how he's the most important man, how he's become so important that he's given the power to destroy to politicians and, of course, the public, the invention of the nuclear weapon. And then we have Cillian Murphy playing Oppenheimer, and he's moving towards the cameras as the cameras are flashing. Presumably, this is a commentary by Nolan on the media and film in particular, but we'll get to that. And then we kind of close out at the very end with Robert Downey Jr. playing Lewis Strauss, talking about how powerful and important Oppenheimer is as a historical figure, but perhaps being Downey, that has a kind of ironic note. So it's not a lot. We just have a few images, a lot of voiceovers from the key cast, but they did release the poster, so we now know who is going to be very central to the story. It's going to be Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey, and of course Cillian Murphy in the title role. So we are getting a lot of Oppenheimer through various points of his life, namely leading up to the actual invention of the bomb, the aftermath, his doubts, and of course the infamous trials, security clearance being revoked, and obviously the aftermath of the bomb and how it's affected all of us. But again, this is Nolan, and we're being given clues he's going to be playing with the structure of time. So we're probably not going to get a straight linear story. We're going to be jumping back and forth through various episodes of his life. This is probably going to be, yes, a historical film, but it is a Nolan film. So it's not going to, strictly speaking, stick to just the historical facts of his life, but probably embellish moments here and there. And obviously, the use of the cameras is going to clue you in that he's, as always in a lot of these films, is commenting on films themselves, how they deceive us, how they shape our perceptions, and how we quite don't ever get an objective reality within our grasp. Because again, he's a big fan of The Matrix, and this feels like another homage to The Matrix he has in a lot of his films, especially Inception, but he's done this quite a few films. And again, although this is kind of unique in him doing a historical figure, he has commented on historical events in Interstellar. They make commentary on the Cold War and how a waste of time that was, and how it really distorted priorities. So he has commented on history proper in other films, but for the most part, he has sort of kept within himself and creating his own fictional universe, and we just see characters and themes within that fictional universe. The Nolan verse, for a lack of a better phrase. And although I did not like Tenet as much as other people, I do appreciate that Nolan, as always, is trying to challenge the audience and trying to play with narrative structure and do something that's very forward looking with the technology as well as the possibilities of cinema. But the teaser doesn't really tell us very much. Like, where are we going with this? Is this going to be focused on the politics, on the personal relationships, on both? How much will these various characters play a role in his life? Don't know. We only now have the poster. We have a little bit more of the official media, and we definitely have a date that it will be released in July of next year. But that's about it. So we've gotten a bit of a tantalizing taste of what Oppenheimer will have, but the reactions seem mostly positive. Other people have seen the teaser, and for the most part, their commentaries are very, very positive. And as they emphasize, we don't get a lot, but we get enough that this will be a very, very interesting, epic project. He's shooting it on IMAX, as always, So it'll have the highest quality, the highest sound quality. An additional interesting fact is that both Nope and Oppenheimer actually share the same cinematographer as well. So there's a lot of effort to make this a quality product. And him joining this with Nope, of course, is trying to help another kind of independent filmmaker with Jordan Peele. Although I don't want to say Nope is entirely original, it is, for Hollywood terms, an original project. It's not tied to the MCU, it's not tied to the DCU, it's not tied to any ongoing franchise. So it is an attempt to be original within today's Hollywood. So there's a lot of signs this will be a very great project, a very epic project. But again, we still don't know a lot about where it's going to go, properly speaking. So we should expect a trailer in the next couple of months, a few more tantalizing details on what Nolan will be planning with Oppenheimer. And there we are with a look at Oppenheimer through the teaser and what we can expect from Christopher Nolan's next project. Thank you for listening.